Showers. As the night goes on, showers generally becoming confined to western and northern parts of the UK, and quite a windy night to come across the very far northeast of Scotland. Where we do see the clearer skies, it will turn a little bit cooler than the night just gone, but I think most towns and cities still staying in double figures. So we start Monday off with plenty of sunshine across many parts of the UK. Still got the overnight rain just clearing Shetland, but for most of Scotland it should be dry. But showers will quickly develop across the west of Scotland. Also similar story for Northern Ireland. A few showers in the west, but mostly dry as we start Monday morning. Showers also moving in across parts of Wales and southwest England, but many eastern areas of England starting off the day dry and sunny. And as the day goes on, the showers across the west will gradually become a little bit more widespread across the country. Most frequent still in the west. Some of these showers will be heavy and potentially thundery in places, with the best of the brightness throughout the day really over towards the east. Temperatures on Monday down over the weekend, but still reaching around 21 to 22 degrees in the southeast corner. So I think if you are in the sunshine, it won't feel too bad out there. Similar start to the day on Tuesday, lots of sunshine around, but this time we're seeing another feature coming in from the southwest. There's some showers breaking out quite quickly across southwest England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Ahead of it, could see a few rogue showers, but mostly dry. And that unsettled regime does look like it will continue Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures around average.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong. Tonight, say your goodbyes and leave immediately.
Oh, thank you.
Kidding me? You're kidding me?
That's right, the government considers booting out illegal migrants of all the hotels and into military bases. But with 30,000 having crossed the channel so far this year... Yeah, is it just too little too late? Also, tonight...
People don't like their politicians to be comfortable. They don't like you having expenses. They don't like you being paid. They'd rather you live in the cave.
Yes, MP salaries stand at almost 100k a year, but there are now calls to make the job unpaid. Plus...
The Prime Minister was already planning a reshuffle. I'll be honest, he wanted to do it on a slightly slower time frame. When it became clear that Angela was going to leave government, the Prime Minister took decisive action and decided to bring that reshuffle forward and just get the job done on Friday.
Phase 2 off to a great start there, Darren. Anyway, after a week of turmoil in Downing Street, Labour peer Lord Fawkes joins us to defend a government in crisis. And elsewhere, as London once again grinds to a halt thanks to the latest round of tube strikes, are the unions holding the capital and the country to ransom? And...
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
Well, with Prince Harry reportedly keen to introduce his children to the UK, how will Meghan feel about her little ones visiting the nation she snubbed? Also, it's the worldwide event of a blood moon, or a lunar eclipse as it's called. This is when the Earth blocks the sun's light and turns the moon red. That's going to be one to watch. It's also one of a kind, so we'll be showing that as soon as we get it for you later on today. And later tonight, I'm going to be asking, is the burqa completely incompatible with British values? Stay tuned for that one. A huge 2 hours coming up, but first, let's get your news with Aaron Armstrong.
Hi there, good evening to you. 2 minutes past 9. Our headlines. President Trump says he's ready to move to a second stage of sanctioning Russia over the conflict in Ukraine. His comments came hours after Moscow launched the largest aerial attack of the war so far. At least 4 people, including a mother and her baby, were killed after Russia launched more than 800 drones and missiles, setting fire to the main government building in Kyiv, the first time it's been hit. Well, Mr. Trump, who met the Russian president for talks in Alaska last month, said he's prepared to implement additional sanctions, but didn't elaborate on what that would entail. Sir Keir Starmer has called the attacks cowardly and has said they prove Vladimir Putin is not serious about peace. The Defence Secretary's confirmed the government is exploring plans to expand the use of military sites to house asylum seekers. It comes after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the Channel yesterday, taking the total number of illegal arrivals this year to more than 30,000. It's understood proposals will be announced within weeks. It follows a wave of protests outside asylum hotels over the summer. John Healey has confirmed officials are also considering other types of non-military accommodation and says it's just one of a number of necessary measures.
No one part of this will solve the problem. It requires action on the gangs, action on the boats, action on processing any claims, action on negotiating agreements to return those who have no right to be here to other countries. We started to do all that. Good progress in the first year, but so much more to do.
The new Home Secretary has described the number of small boat crossings in the Channel as utterly unacceptable. Shabana Mahmood will this week host counterparts from the so-called Five Eyes Security Alliance in London for talks on tackling people smuggling. It will be her first major engagement in the new role. Ms Mahmood says she expects the first returns under a deal with France to take place imminently. Reports suggest ministers are close to agreeing a similar one-in-out returns arrangement with Germany. Let's turn to the protest in London yesterday, which led to the arrest of almost 900 protesters in Westminster. It was a demonstration in support of Palestine Action. The protest began peacefully, but violent clashes broke out around 3 o'clock when a large group of protesters who were not holding placards began to physically and verbally abuse officers, making arrests. The majority were detained for supporting a prescribed group, but 33 people were held for allegedly assaulting the police. London Underground passengers are bracing themselves for a week of disruption as the latest strike action escalates. The industrial actions brought services to an early finish this evening, and there will be almost no services until Friday. Around 10,000 members of the RMT union are walking out over pay and conditions. Buses and London's other rail services, like the Overground and the Elizabeth line, will continue to run. Siren sounds have blared from mobile phones across the country today in a test of the National Emergency Alert System. The alarm went off at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It lasted for around 10 seconds. The second test of the system, the first one was a couple of years ago. The Prime Minister says it's important to keep people safe in national emergencies. It's designed to warn people when there is an imminent danger to life. Finally, stargazers around the world have been witnessing a total lunar eclipse tonight, which turns the full moon red. It's also known as a blood moon and occurs when the Earth comes in between the sun and the full moon, blocking out the sun's light. The last total lunar eclipse visible in the UK was 2022. It won't occur again until August next year. Now, it's slowly moving out of the Earth's shadow. It will last until about 9:55, so you've got, what, just under 50 minutes if you want to catch a glimpse. And that is it for the moment. I'll be back with more a little later. Now it's over to Alex.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the show. More than 1,000 migrants entered the UK on Shabana Mahmood's first day as Home Secretary. It's her job to end this crisis, by the way. And since the refugees welcome here, former Home Secretary Yvette Cooper got sacked from her job after overseeing the biggest influx of illegal migrants on record. It's not looking good, is it? Well, meanwhile, the online left was celebrating a few days of no arrivals like it was the government's success. Well, we all know, don't we? It was simply down to bad weather. How embarrassing for all of them online, eh? Well, Labour's big plan is to shove migrants now into disused military bases like Napier Barracks and Wethersfield. Does that sound a little bit familiar to you all at home? Well, it should. Because in 2023, Yvette Cooper, the then Shadow Home Secretary, slammed the Tories' use of these sites as an admission of failure. So why is Labour now copying the same, as they called, failed playbook? Hypocrisy doesn't even begin to cover it. Now, let's get real. This isn't a solution. It's a shuffling of the deck, isn't it? Crossings are up 44.5% from last year. That's 9,600 plus in 2025 alone. A record high, costing this country and you, the taxpayers, at least $4.2 billion a year. Where's Keir Starmer's Border Security Command? Barely started. He's promised to stop migration at the source. But the Home Office admits 65,700 asylum seekers are housed here. Another record, a 10-year high. Well, as you all probably know, hotels cost £145 a night each for illegal migrants. All while, homeless veterans are sleeping rough on our streets. Labour is still offering landlords a 5-year rent deal for illegal migrants, while British families struggle to even pay their bills. Tory Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has, in my opinion, nailed it. He said Labour's giving a better deal to illegal immigrants than tax-paying Brits. Well, how long is it until Keir Starmer is forced to accept the sane conclusion that everyone else in Britain has already arrived at? Only mass deportations will solve this crisis, as you all know at home. Well, let's get the thoughts of my slightly slimmed down panel, actually, tonight. Businessman and political activist Adam Brooks is here, everybody. We love Adam. Thanks for coming in tonight, short notice. Appreciate that. Political commentator Chloe Dobbs. And I do have an empty chair, unfortunately, because, as you know, there's industrial action taking place. And Andy Williams, who's going to be here at some point, hasn't quite made it in. I wonder if he's going to defend the unions when he comes in on this one. I wonder if he's going to defend them. That'll be an interesting one, won't it? So in the meantime, if there's a little bit of balance, because we have to be balanced, you know the rules, I'll be imitating Andy Williams. So how about that, eh? That'll be an interesting one for you all to watch at home. Anyway, let's get stuck into it. Adam, I'd love to start with you. What do you make of this? Because yesterday we had Reform Party conference. 2 days, I think it's their first ever 2-day long. I think they finished them a little bit early before. And it seemed to me, the minute after that conference had finished, Keir Starmer was playing his little flute going, oh, do you know what? We've done this one-in, one-out deal with Germany. We're going to put migrants in camps. What do you think's happening?
I think anyone that believes Keir Starmer is going to get tough on illegal immigration needs to go and see a doctor, because it's not going to happen. He's a human rights lawyer. He's not going to go hard on illegal immigrants. At the end of the day, we shouldn't have any of these here. I'm not going to apologise. I don't want any of these people here. I want to look after our own. And I think the majority of the country feel the same way as me. At the end of the day, we're trying to shut down the hotels. I've just come from the Bell Hotel, 500 people. But what's going to happen here, if they do try and move them to military bases, they're going to let them roam the streets. They're going to bust them into towns. That's the problem. We have unchecked, unverified men from far different cultures from our own, amongst our women and our children. So, no, it's not going to solve anything. Yes, I do want them out of the hotels. I don't want them in HMOs either. But if they put them in the military bases, they must not be allowed to leave. I want armed guards, because we know there's dangerous people amongst them. And if only 10% are dangerous, we've got a serious problem in our communities.
Oh, I completely agree, Adam. But the government would say this. I'm being Andy Williams here, just in case any of you at home think this is just me saying this, it's not. But Andy Williams or others on the left would say this, Chloe. Well, they promised in their manifesto they would close the hotels. The Prime Minister's now going to deliver that pledge, and we should all really be celebrating it, because at the end of the day, we think the hotels are bad. They're in our communities, at least on military bases. People should be safer. People should be safer, and actually people like yourselves and maybe Alex Armstrong would say, actually, we just want mass deportations, but at the end of the day, we're a kind country. We've got good values. We look after people that come here, Chloe.
So first of all, I would say we are a very kind country. We, as a country, we have done so much to help people. We've brought so many people into this country. We've done so many great things, like bringing people over here from Ukraine. But there comes a limit when our own country is just going down the drain, because we've been a bit too welcome, to be honest. And as you say, we've got veterans and other people sleeping on the streets whilst we're putting people up in fancy hotels. Now, to your point about they're going to meet their manifesto pledge, they might meet it. I doubt it. I'll believe it when I see it. But if they meet it, it's not going to be achieving anything meaningful, as Adam has pointed out, because you're just shuffling people around. If they don't have the tenacity to stop the migrants from coming in the first place and stop the huge flow of people coming in, it's just hopeless. I would rather they be in military barracks than fancy hotels, because I think the public are getting really fed up of seeing people being treated so much better than them and having a fancy stay here. But for me, what's crucial as a short-term crisis solution is that whether they're in hotels or military barracks, they are not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to leave the hotel. I don't think that's cruel. I mean, you go to...
It is cruel, Chloe. The government would say it's cruel. The government would say you're putting... This is the equivalent... Sorry, again, I'm trying to get into... This is really difficult for me, actually. This is really, really hard. But the government would say this. They would say it is cruel. Maybe the government would say it. Maybe other people would say... I don't know who'd say it. Maybe someone would say this. They say that is cruel because what you're doing is restricting their freedom. This is like turning into a sort of concentration camp, 1940s Germany style.
I mean, sorry, staying in a hotel or staying in military barracks is far nicer than being in a concentration camp. The point I make is, if you're staying in a hotel and you don't leave, it's just like going on an plenty bits to go on these all-inclusive holidays. They don't even leave the hotel because there's enough to do in the hotel. They've got pools, they've got all sorts.
I would say to you, Mr. Lefty, tonight, is that why don't people like you and the left criticise Greece, that are putting them in tents, that are detaining them, threatening to put them behind bars for 5 years, or mass deporting them? Why is no one calling Greece out on that? Why is no one calling out Germany or Austria that are going to start sending people back to Afghanistan or Syria? Why do we have to be the mugs in this country that have to be the soft ones? But what the left again is Keir Starmer is a human rights lawyer. Anyone that believes what he says on this is stupid.
Well, what people would argue is they would say, you're moving the goalposts constantly, Adam. You say, right, we don't want them in hotels, and now you're telling me you don't want them in military barracks. Well, the Tories did that, and then... so where does it end, Adam? Where does it end?
Keir Starmer, we don't want them here at all. None of them. They're economic migrants that have come through several safe countries and are taking us, the taxpayer, as mugs. At the end of the day, let's look after our veterans, our own homeless. We cannot feed the world. The world is not our problem.
Well, again, someone would argue, I'm sure, that they're already here, too late. The Tories caused this crisis. They're just dealing with the mess the Tories left them. And actually, they are, oh God, how am I phrasing this? We're a country that believes in international law, Adam. That's what it is, right? What do you say to that? Do you not believe in international law, Adam?
I do believe in international law, but I also believe in our nation as a sovereign state. We look after our own. At the end of the day, this could be solved pretty quickly by declaring a national emergency, saying we're having no more. Other countries have pulled up their drawbridge. Other countries have said no more asylum seekers. Why can't we do that? And that is what the public want to know. Why can everyone else be harsh, but we can't? Why does our left-wing press say that we can't do things? Donald Trump solved this problem overnight. The left-wing press in America said he couldn't. The lawmakers said he couldn't. We can do it. It's just that our political force does not want to do it. They've got no will to solve this.
Well, Chloe, again, someone would say you're just far right. Especially him. He's the furthest right person I've ever met, that bloke there, right? He doesn't speak for anyone. He's a far-right loon, right?
I'm suing you, man.
Yeah, Chloe, someone would say, you're far right. You listen, you speak for a small minority of people in the country. Actually, what people want is sensible solutions to this, which Keir Starmer's delivering.
So, first of all, the polls say otherwise. I mean, I don't need to quote them to you. We've all seen the polls.
Show me the polls. Show me the polls.
Reform. So, well, we've had a poll. We've had a poll.
Show me the polls.
We've had a poll with reform, with a bigger percentage of the Labour and Tories combined. So that just goes to show this isn't some kind of fringe opinion. And it shouldn't be a fringe opinion to just think that your country should have a border. I mean, there was a day when that used to be a normal point of view, to say countries should have borders. And as I said before, Alex, we have actually done a lot as a nation to help people and also, going back in time, impoverishing ourselves to end slavery and then taking refugees from various different places over the years. We've done a lot, but there comes a point when you realise that it is causing big problems for your own nation where you have to put a limit in. I'm not completely against having any refugees, but I think if we're going to have any, first of all, we've got a huge security crisis, not knowing who's coming across, has to be legal routes only, a limited number, and we should take the people who most need our help, which is women and children. I don't want to see another single man coming across this country.
One more question for you, because while I'm on a roll here, being a fantastic lefty Alex Armstrong.
I've gone right off you, man.
No, please watch next week, everybody. So what someone else would say, Adam, is they would say, well, we just got a new Home Secretary. She's seen as one of the more right-wingers in the Labour Party. Maybe people will argue that there's no such thing as a right-wing person in the Labour Party, but many people would argue that she's the rightest-wing member of the Cabinet. She's been pretty tough on the prison. She came down hard on the Sentencing Council. Should we not give her a chance?
No. At the end of the day, on her first full day, 1,000 have crossed. It's already a failure, and I've seen the videos of things that she said.
But it's not her fault, is it? That's not her fault, right?
I do not believe she is right-wing at all. But we've just done a whole segment on the hotels without mentioning the crime. Now, people need to know that asylum seekers and migrants are disproportionately more likely to commit sex crimes and violent crimes, and that's a fact. So let's just say we need to put our communities first, our women and our children first, and that is why us in Epping are not going away, and we will be there every week until that's shut.
Yeah, and well, I mean, Chloe, people to Adam's argument would say actually it's still a very, very small amount of crimes being committed by illegal migrants. I think some of the data shows that actually they are disproportionately less likely to commit a sex crime than a white British person is. What would you say to that argument?
So, first of all, I would say, one rape is one that we shouldn't have when it's someone who shouldn't have been here in this country. It's a bit of a different matter when it's somebody who has always lived in this country as a citizen. You can't get rid of them. But when it's it's hard to encapsulate the frustration that people are going to feel when they see, oh, my daughter or girl in my community has been raped or sexually assaulted. But it didn't have to happen if we simply had some border control. The other thing I would say is even if people aren't being nicked for something super serious, it is causing a lot of alarm, as I'm sure Adam can confirm, for communities when you've got a bunch of men with nothing to do all day, sitting on street corners, looking at girls inappropriately. Even if they don't commit a sexual assault, that's very unnerving for a lot of girls.
Drunk. They go to the local Tesco's in Epping, they shoplift the drink and they sit on the benches.
You know what, Adam? You're so far right. Just so far right.
as well, we've also seen them...
Is that how this works? Am I doing a good job?
They go into the betting shops and use the money that they're given on their cards to bet. What sort of mugs are we in this country?
Well, look...
Things have got to stop.
We've got to move on, thankfully for me, because I don't know how much longer I could keep that up without internally combusting, frankly. But I hope that was all right for all of you at home. Adam, Chloe, thank you so much for putting up with me, for being a 5-minute lefty there. But before we move on, so I can have a break, it's Great British Giveaways up now. It's our biggest cash prize to date, worth an incredible 104k. You can drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and bank a whopping 30 grand in tax-free cash. Here's all the details you'll need to enter our biggest opportunity to date.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people, comes with integrated bathroom and kitchen areas, has plenty of storage and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, taking the total prize value of this Great British giveaway over a whopping £104,000. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Blinds close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Oh, hello. Oh, I'm just on the phone to our lefty that's meant to be here. Yeah. Oh, you couldn't come in because you couldn't defend the government. It was so abysmally bad that you just couldn't do it? Oh, don't blame me. All right, see you soon. Anyway, well, good luck, everybody. What up next?
People don't like their politicians to be comfortable. They don't like you having expenses. They don't like you being paid. They'd rather you live in a cave.
Should we just put all the MPs in a cave and see how they get on? I don't know, that'll be fun. With MPs earning more than 90 grand a year for their work in Parliament, is it time to scrap their salaries altogether? We'll debate that next. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here
we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong's Tonight. I'm about to say Alex Lefty Armstrong tonight. I'm back to my righty views now. Don't worry, everybody. I hope you're still watching. Sorry about that. Anyway, over 90 grand. That's the current salary of members of Parliament, with some people arguing they deserve even more for their public service. But could the case be made that they should earn nothing at all? Well, between salaries and expenses and pensions, MPs cost the taxpayer millions each year. Yet, before 1911, UK MPs weren't paid at all. Public service was seen as a duty. And while much more of MPs' roles involve helping constituencies, most of this is day-to-day correspondence, it's handled by their office staff. Is it time to stop paying them altogether? Well, we're now joined by former Conservative MP and illegal migration minister Tom Pursglove and political commentator Aisha Ali Khan. Well, Tom, given that you are a former MP and minister, I suspect I know what your opinion on this might be, but I'll let you take it from here. Should we just not pay MPs at all and be it as public service, right?
No, I think that's completely wrong. And something that I'm absolutely clear about is that we shouldn't see anybody excluded from that public service. Our democracy is envied around the world. And I think you really want your politicians to be responsive. You want them to be immersed in the detail. You want them to be immersed in the role. And you want them to be an active representative for you and your community in our national debate. So from my point of view, the salary is a really important part of this. It allows members of Parliament to fulfil that role. Obviously, there is limited outside earnings that people, in some cases, undertake. But I can tell you that when I was the Member of Parliament for Corby, that was a 24/7 undertaking. I took it really seriously. I was visible and active in my constituency. I tried to be really active in the House of Commons as well, and helped with an awful lot of issues week to week, with tons and tons of correspondence coming in and being answered very thoroughly with the help of my team. So, you know, there's many brilliant people in Parliament who I don't think would be there if there wasn't a salary. What we'd be going back to is effectively dukes and earls, a little bit like King and Conqueror that you can see on another channel at the moment. I think that'd be a disaster, actually.
Well, Aisha, I'll put this to you then, because there's a lot of people who argue the exact opposite, of course, of this debate, and they say, actually, we need to pay our MPs more money. They're too underpaid. We need to attract the best talent, and one of the reasons why we don't get the best MPs is because we just don't pay them enough, Aisha.
Well, I would argue the opposite. I think, I mean, Tom, I have no doubt you were a great MP when you were in post, but there are many MPs that have the extra time and the leisure to take on multiple different jobs. And only this week we saw Nigel Farage, instead of representing the people that he was elected to represent in Clacton, he was off in the US and having a bit of a jolly there. And I think that's really important, because what we're seeing is a lot of MPs are using their positions, elected positions, by the way, to line their pockets, to make millions, to make a career out of it. And before 1911, before when MPs were being paid, people did this, and it was a duty, it was an honour to serve the people. And I think we need to kind of go back to those basics, because too many MPs, and Tom, I'm not including you in this list, by the way, but too many other MPs, and this is both across all political parties. I'm not just picking on a certain party and ignoring the others. This is everyone. They've got too much time on their hands.
But Aisha,
just jobs to make more money.
Sure. But just to go back to what Tom was saying, because I think Tom made a really good point. Surely, if you take away their salary, what you then get is the wealthiest people in the country who have got all that spare time, these sort of dukes and nobles, stepping in because they can afford to not be paid.
Well, if we think about it, we're already covering a lot of the expenses. We're covering the running of the office, for example. We're covering travel expenses. We're covering the cost of living in London if the MPs from out of London. We're already covering a lot of the costs, and then we're also paying them just shy of 94,000 a year.
Yeah, it's a lot, Aisha.
In April this year,
it's a lot.
Yep.
Tom, we'll push.
3 times more the average salary in the UK.
It is a good salary for the UK, Tom, and perhaps Aisha's got a point. You've got these massive expenses that you can also cover, and we do constantly see these expenses being. You get a load of freebies. We saw, of course, Lord Allygate at the start of this Parliament when the Prime Minister was getting free suits, for example. I mean, should we just be scrapping all of that and say, no, that's your salary, we don't want you getting any other backhanders as well?
Well, I think it is a weighty salary. There's no other way of looking at it, but it does allow voters to hold their MPs to account. I think it's right and proper for constituents to drive their local MP really hard because you want to get value out of them. You want them to be responsive. You want them to be active in the community. You want them to have that profile on the national stage. So I think it actually creates circumstances where there's no excuse for any member of the House of Commons not to be putting the effort in. And actually, to do something different would actually require quite a big reprofiling of the role, which I think would be in the opposite direction to where voters want to see their politicians. But
what about expenses, Tom? What about expenses? Should we just be scrapping expenses?
But again, the challenge there is that the vast majority of that expense relates to being active in the constituency or having that support from your staff.
But what about Lord Allygate? What about all those free suits that Keir Starmer got? That looks awful, doesn't it?
That was horrendous. And I think, the fact that ever happened in the first place was shocking. And Prime Minister has said that should never have happened, and I think he's right to have said that, but he should have created the conditions within the organisation of the Labour Party that would never have allowed those items to be accepted in the first place. But in terms of doing the job day to day, that support that is provided is really important in terms of being able to have your staff support you. You get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters and emails a week, often dealing with people in really difficult circumstances, often quite a lot of distress. You want to be able to really support them. And so to not have the salary, I think, would see a very different type of parliament with people having outside interest, other jobs that they would do, where actually then the legislating and being a member of parliament would probably be secondary. And I think that would be really backwards.
All right, both of you, thank you so much for a well-fought debate there. Former Tory MP Tom Pursglove and political commentator Aisha Ali Khan. Thank you very much, both of you. Well, coming up...
Prime Minister was already planning a reshuffle. I'll be honest, he wanted to do it on a slightly slower time frame. When it became clear that Angela was going to leave government, the Prime Minister took decisive action and decided to bring that reshuffle forward and just get the job done on Friday.
Phase 2, well, it's going brilliantly, isn't it? A tumultuous week, of course, for the government with one major resignation and a major reshuffle. Is the Labour Party in total crisis? This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's quite a changeable picture across the Mediterranean over the next couple of days. Plenty of sunny spells on offer, but there is going to be some quite strong winds across parts of the Canaries as we head through Monday afternoon. Parts of Spain and Portugal, parts of Italy seeing plenty of sunny spells, but southern parts of France, parts of Greece and parts of Turkey seeing plenty of heavy showers through Monday afternoon. Quite a lot of sunshine on offer as we go through the rest of the week and feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. Looking ahead to the new working week, and it's going to be unsettled. Most of us seeing some further rain and showers, and after a warm weekend for some of us, temperatures are returning to nearer average. So we have low pressure really dominating the scene as we end the weekend. Still got some dry weather down towards the far southeast, but most of us seeing some showers. As the night goes on, showers generally becoming confined to western and northern parts of the UK, and quite a windy night to come across the very far northeast of Scotland. Where we do see the clearer skies, it will turn a little bit cooler than the night just gone, but I think most towns and cities still staying in double figures. So we start Monday off with plenty of sunshine across many parts of the UK. Still got the overnight rain just clearing Shetland, but for most of Scotland it should be dry. But showers will quickly develop across the west of Scotland. Also similar story for Northern Ireland. A few showers in the west, but mostly dry as we start Monday morning. Showers also moving in across parts of Wales and southwest England, but many eastern areas of England starting off the day dry and sunny. And as the day goes on, the showers across the west will gradually become a little bit more widespread across the country. Most frequent still in the west. Some of these showers will be heavy and potentially thundery in places, with the best of the brightness throughout the day really over towards the east. Temperatures on Monday down over the weekend, but still reaching around 21 to 22 degrees in the southeast corner. So I think if you are in the sunshine, it won't feel too bad out there. Similar start to the day on Tuesday, lots of sunshine around, but this time we're seeing another feature coming in from the southwest. There's some showers breaking out quite quickly across southwest England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Ahead of it, could see a few rogue showers, but mostly dry. And that unsettled regime does look like it will continue Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures around average.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, this week has been a rollercoaster for the government, just to put it mildly, I guess. And amid mounting pressure, Angela Rayner resigned from her position in Keir Starmer's cabinet, triggering a major reshuffle. Key figures include mastermind champion David Lammy, Yvette Cooper and Shabana Mahmood, who have all taken on new roles. And well, what do you think of that, by the way? I'd love to see what you think of that, because I personally believe it's been a bit of a disaster for the Prime Minister, because he's now completely lost the left of his party, hasn't he? Angela Rayner, so she's sitting on the back benches. She's going to be stirring up a lot of trouble, because she really wants to be Prime Minister, doesn't she? That's what I know you will think that at home too. But anyway, we're now joined by Labour peer and former Minister Lord Folks. Thank you very much for joining me. Well, listen.
Hello, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Lord Folks. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Well, look, it's been a bit of a bad week for Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He kicked it off with phase 2. He was very hopeful. He had put out this very hopeful message. And then within the same 24 hours, Angela Rayner rolled up to Downing Street to tell him that she's in a bit of tax trouble.
But it's an interesting contrast, isn't it, that Angela Rayner, when she gets told that she's broken the ministerial code, resigns immediately.
No, it wasn't immediately. It was a whole week before she resigned.
No. Get it right, Alex. For once, you try and get it right. As soon as the advisor on the ministerial code reported, she resigned immediately. Compared with Liz Truss, Boris Johnson, Priti Patel, Robert Jenrick, they all broke the ministerial code and they stayed on as ministers. So it's far more rigid. We make it far more important that people who break the ministerial code have to resign.
Lord Fox, I would agree with you on that. I always want to see ministers resign when they have broken the ministerial code. But she knew she'd done something wrong on Monday, and the Prime Minister knew she'd done something wrong on Monday, and the Cabinet still went out and defended her all week. We were none the wiser, by the way. We were all told she's been good as gold. She obviously knew something bad had gone on with her taxes. She knew on Monday, and the PM still went out to defend her.
Of course, you've been focusing on this, and all the media have been focusing on Angela Rayner.
She's the Deputy Prime Minister.
But I wonder why you don't focus on the tax affairs of Nigel Farage.
Because he's not in government, Lord Foulkes. He's not in government.
Nobody's a member of Parliament and responsible as a member of Parliament. And yet, what about his house in Clacton? Did he pay tax on that? Did he pay tax when he bought that?
But he's already answered these questions, I believe, on an interview.
No, he didn't. No.
He did.
He's been on TV twice today. I've seen him on Sky and on the BBC, and he refused on both occasions to answer any questions.
And I believe Nigel Farage said he'd give up his business if he became Prime Minister. So
he won't publish his tax returns. Why doesn't he publish his tax returns? Why doesn't he say who owns that house in Clacton? Did he buy it? Or did his girlfriend?
Okay, well, Lord Foulkes, Nigel Farage never called for Angela Rayner to resign, by the way. The biggest problem people have with Angela, especially the public. No, but give me 1 second. Hear me out. Because Angela Rayner called for 8 cabinet ministers to resign during her time in opposition, and for far less things than what she did, by the way. Some of them hadn't even broken the ministerial code. She still called for them to resign, and that's one of the things that people really disliked. I actually think they can look past a little bit of maybe a bit of problem with the people's taxes if they haven't fallen on their own sword. And Angela Rayner's problem is she sat there and called for everyone on their dog to resign.
And as soon as the ministerial advisor said that she'd broken the ministerial code, she resigned. But why are you... She was focused on by all the media. Why are you not focusing on Nigel Farage?
Well, we've just been talking about it now. But she is the Deputy Prime Minister, Lord Foulkes.
Why don't you ask him to come on?
If he comes on the show, I will ask him. How about that? If he comes on, he's more than always invited on GB News, of course, as you know. Well, you can go on his show and ask him if you... How about that? But look...
Wait a minute. What about the money he gets from GB News?
I don't know. I don't sit in the accountancy department, but it's also his private business. I'm not going to ask about that.
Separate account.
Lord Foulkes, listen, I wanted to talk to you about the government. Listen,
it isn't taxed.
Nigel Farage is not a member of the government. So let's talk about what else is happening in the government.
Yes, although he doesn't turn up very often.
All right.
He doesn't turn very often.
I wanted to ask you about the government, not about Nigel Farage and Angela Rayner specifically. I wanted to ask you because it has been a bit of a bad week for the Prime Minister, because not only did his new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, on her first day see over 1,000 migrants arrive, he's also playing to Nigel Farage's flute, isn't he? As soon as Reform Party conference finished, he's announced this very, very right-wing plan that his ministers slammed, Yvette Cooper slammed the plan to put migrants into military bases, and now they're doing it.
It's amazing that you're blaming Shabana Mahmood.
I'm not. I just said I'm actually saying that Yvette Cooper, the former Home Secretary, slammed the plan to put migrants into military camps, and now they're all singing off the same hymn sheet, Lord Foulkes.
Did you watch the Reform annual conference?
I did.
Did you see that madman talk about
what's that got to
the royal family?
You're dodging the question, Lord Foulkes. You're dodging the question. Come on.
Having cancer because of the vaccination.
Your Lord Foulkes, is Yvette Cooper right to say it's an admission of failure to use military camps for migrants?
No. Now, I'm asking you, because I'm on here at your invitation, I'm asking you if you saw the
I'm interviewing you, not the other way around, Lord Foulkes. I'm interviewing you.
It doesn't always work like that. If you invite me on,
because it's my show. It's got my name behind me there somewhere.
I can ask you questions.
Fire away. Go on. I'll let you ask a question about that.
If you saw that madman talking about the royal family getting cancer because of the vaccinations. Now, does that sound like a serious party? And then they also had Lucy Connolly on, a convicted racist, making statements at the party conference. Does that sound like a serious party to you? It's about time you put that party under proper scrutiny, the way that you constantly do the Labour Party.
OK, well, I'll answer the question because you asked me a question. I'll tell you what I think. Yeah. I believe that conferences should be, always, particularly political party conferences, should be about hearing different perspectives. And one of the things I'm critical of former governments, especially the Tory one, by the way, is that they shut free speech down during COVID, which actually made things far more dangerous. It increased vaccine hesitancy, and it made the country much sicker, where we locked people indoors for no reason. So I actually encourage these open debates so people like you can come and criticise it. That's my thought. Yes, it is.
Well done. Yeah. And free speech. And did you see that person being carried out of the Reform conference?
I did.
So is that free speech?
Well, they got their chance to say what they wanted, but at every party
conference... No, they
conference...
didn't. They were pulled out before they could say what they wanted.
Well, what would you think about when the guy who sprinkled Keir Starmer with lots of little sprinkles, do you think he should have been thrown out of the conference too?
I think that was in Parliament that happened.
No, it was a Labour Party conference a couple of years ago, I believe. But anyway, the point is that for security reasons, people throw each other out of conferences, and there's places for people to protest at conferences. They do have their right to do that, but maybe not inside a venue, so they don't disrupt people then pose security risks. But anyway, I think unfortunately we're running out of time, and we've lost the point of the debate, which is to talk about.
No, we haven't. We've got the right point of the debate, Alex. That you're not giving the same kind of scrutiny to reform.
Lord Folks, I had Lee Anderson on my show, and I had Richard Tyson on my show just the other week, and I gave them the exact amount of scrutiny I gave to a Labour Party member and I gave to a Tory Party member, all right? And if they come on the show, they'll face the same level of scrutiny from me as everyone else does, including Kemi Badenoch, and including what I would love to see, Lord Folks, maybe you could have a chat with some of your Labour Party peers. I'd love to see Yvette Cooper come on the show. I'd love to see David Lammy come on the show. Why do they not want Why do they not want to hear from us? Are they worried about being scrutinised?
So you're not satisfied with having me on your show?
Oh, I'm very sad. I love having you on the show, Lord Folks. Come back every week. It's fun.
I was on with Ben all the time before he went off to America. I hope he's doing well then, and I'm happy to come on with you.
Come back next week.
I think you need to have proper scrutiny of the reform of reform.
I'll tell you what, I'll make a bet, because we've got to leave it there, Lord Folks, but what I'll say is, if you can convince Yvette Cooper or another Cabinet Secretary to come on this show, I will have Nigel Farage on here, and I'll hold him to the same scrutiny as that Cabinet Minister. How about that?
You should do that anyway. I hope you do that anyway.
Let's get it organised. Come back next time. It was great chatting to you, as ever. Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you, Alex. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Coming up, well, that was fun, wasn't it? As tube strikes are bringing London to a standstill, is Britain's capital being held ransom by militant unions and overpaid bus and pushers? This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device, and as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong tonight. I can't even get my name right this evening, honestly. It's not a good start, is it? Yeah, it's because Andy's here now, by the way. I had to pretend to be Andy at the start of the show. It just completely threw me off. But anyway, I'll come back to the panel very soon, don't worry. Well, it's Britain's capital being held to ransom. London Underground staff have begun a 5-day strike over pay and conditions. Tube drivers can already earn up to 72 grand a year for just 35-hour working weeks, with generous benefits including 43 days holiday and extensive travel perks. The unions are demanding even more, calling for a pay rise and a reduction in hours to just 32 hours a week. Last year, Sadiq Khan awarded tube workers a 5% increase, costing the taxpayer $30 million. And since taking office, the London mayor has presided over more tube strikes than his last two predecessors combined. It's bonkers, isn't it? I'm now joined by the academic and anarchist, I hope she likes to call herself that, Lisa Mackenzie. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me. Listen, it even stopped one of my panellists getting here tonight, so I'm already a bit angry about this whole thing, as you can probably tell, Lisa. And we always have a good-hearted discussion, don't we? But listen, it's ridiculous, Lisa. Honestly, what they're asking for, no one else on this country can get. We're talking about 25% pay package since COVID. They've already only working 35 hours a week, 43 days of holiday. Most people would never want to quit this job, Lisa.
Yeah, but that's not what we should be doing, should we? We shouldn't be levelling down. We're in a cost of living crisis. People are struggling everywhere. It's right for people to ask for money that they deserve. And just one of the things I'd like to say about TfL is in the last year they've made 164 million in surplus, and they've paid their CEOs and other executives up to 22%. So if they can do that for the CEO and other executives, and they've made a massive surplus, then why shouldn't that go back to some of the workers?
Lisa, I'm not against that, Lisa. Just to step in, because I'm not against workers being paid fairly, but they are very well paid. They're double the national average. 72 grand, 60 grand, 72 grand is a lot of money. And I'm just going to read some out because 8.4% pay rise in 2022, 6.6% in 2023, 4.6% in 2024, plus this year's offer of 3%. I think they're throwing their toys out the pram. There's people in this country who work that to the bone and don't get anywhere near these kind of benefits. And what they're doing, Lisa, is people across London who are very poorly paid in some cases are now having to pay for cabs to get into work, who are already, as you said, in a cost of living crisis, can't afford to get to their jobs, are going to lose out on their pay. And these very well-paid, spoiled people, in my opinion, are making it worse for them.
So the tube drivers are earning £72,000. That's true. But if you think about the job and the safety, how many people are they sort of moving around London? If they're not responsible and aren't doing a good job, imagine how terrible an accident would be if an accident happened. So
Lisa,
I think they deserve that 72.
Lisa, come on. We know loads of it's automated. We know loads of the tube. The DLR runs without a hitch most days of the week, and there's nobody on that train.
What would you feel comfortable, be honest, on the Central Line at 8:30 a.m. in the morning when it's absolutely packed solid and people are pushing to get on with an automatic driver? Because I know I wouldn't. I would never.
It pretty much is already like that anyway, Lisa, because all that happens is a door slams in people's faces and they get on or they get off, and there's someone on the platform normally. There's someone normally there on the platform making sure that runs to pass. And I said the DLR, this happens all the time. So I understand that I'm pro workers having rights and I'm pro workers getting paid fairly, but what they've got is well above and beyond what most people in this country, and they are making poor people in London suffer. What do you say to the people that are suffering right now as a result of this strike?
Well, I would say, I'm not denying that there are people who are going to suffer. I've lived in London when there's been tube strikes. It really is a nightmare. But I'm not going to sort of slay the ordinary working class people who work on the underground. Because remember, some of those people who work on the underground are actually not well paid. The people who work in the ticket offices, the people who look at security, the people that are sort of working on the platforms. They're not extremely well paid, and they do a very difficult difficult job. You know, let's remember, GB News for a long time have talked about the fare dodging.
All right. Lisa, I'm sorry, we've got to leave it there now. I'm really sorry, I've run out of time. But thank you for coming on a good passion debate. I really appreciate it. All right, academic and anarchist there. Lisa Mackenzie, thank you. Right. Well, I would get the thoughts of my panel, but we've run out of time, I'm sorry, because Lord Folks was pretty difficult to get an interview with. So apologies for that. But we'll be back in shortly. Coming up, we'll get your teeth stuck into this bombshell debate. Is the burqa completely incompatible with British values? This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News. Let's get your weather first.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. Looking ahead to the new working week, and it's going to be unsettled. Most of us seeing some further rain and showers, and after a warm weekend for some of us, temperatures are returning to nearer average. So we have low pressure really dominating the scene as we end the weekend. Still got some dry weather down towards the far southeast, but most of us seeing some showers. As the night goes on, showers generally becoming confined to western and northern parts of the UK, and quite a windy night to come across the very far northeast of Scotland. Where we do see the clearer skies, it will turn a little bit cooler than the night just gone, but I think most towns and cities still staying in double figures. So we start Monday off with plenty of sunshine across many parts of the UK. Still got the overnight rain just clearing Shetland, but for most of Scotland it should be dry. But showers will quickly develop across the west of Scotland. Also similar story for Northern Ireland. A few showers in the west, but mostly dry as we start Monday morning. Showers also moving in across parts of Wales and southwest England, but many eastern areas of England starting off the day dry and sunny. And as the day goes on, the showers across the west will gradually become a little bit more widespread across the country. Most frequent still in the west. Some of these showers will be heavy and potentially thundery in places, with the best of the brightness throughout the day really over towards the east. Temperatures on Monday down over the weekend, but still reaching around 21 to 22 degrees in the southeast corner. So I think if you are in the sunshine, it won't feel too bad out there. Similar start to the day on Tuesday, lots of sunshine around, but this time we've seen another feature coming in from the southwest. There's some showers breaking out quite quickly across southwest England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Ahead of it, could see a few rogue showers, but mostly dry. And that unsettled regime does look like it will continue Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures around average.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening, I'm Alex Armstrong. Breaking tonight on the front pages, the government's plan to move thousands of asylum seekers from hotels to army barracks. But should this have been the approach all along? And on the Telegraph, Sir Keir Starmer has been warned by Labour's union backers not to dilute the workers' rights bill championed by now ex-Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner following her resignation. And
a triple referee, tell by my attitude that I most definitely from.
Well, Jay-Z may say he's from New York, but now he and Beyonce are set to move to the Cotswolds as they're about to scoop up a 58-acre land in the heart of England. And we'll have the latest from across the pond as Donald Trump has issued a final warning to Hamas if they don't accept his latest hostage deal. Plus,
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
well, with Prince Harry reportedly keen to introduce his children to the United Kingdom, how will Meghan Markle feel about her little ones visiting the nation she snubbed? Also, it's the worldwide event of a blood moon or a lunar eclipse. This is when the Earth blocks the sun's light and the moon turns red because of the sun's bending through the Earth's atmosphere. It's a one-of-a-kind, and these are the latest images. We'll bring you more throughout the show. On tonight's panel, we have businessman and activist Adam Brooks, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and he's made it in, broadcaster Andy Williams. Well, next up, we'll be asking, is the burqa completely incompatible with British values? And I've also got a very special guest coming on the show. Ben Leo will be joining us live from Washington, D.C. What a huge 2 hours coming up. But first, let's get your news with Aaron Armstrong.
Very good evening to you. The headlines from the GB newsroom. President Trump says he's ready to move to a second stage of sanctioning Russia over the conflict in Ukraine. His comments come hours after Moscow launched the largest aerial attack of the war so far. At least 4 people, including a mother and her baby, were killed after Russia launched more than 800 drones and missiles, hitting the main government building in Kyiv for the first time. Well, Mr. Trump, who met the Russian president for talks in Alaska last month, told reporters earlier he's prepared to implement additional sanctions, but didn't elaborate on what that would entail. The Defence Secretary's confirmed the government is exploring plans to expand the use of military sites to house asylum seekers. It comes after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the Channel yesterday, taking the total number of illegal arrivals this year to more than 30,000. 3 former military sites in Essex and Kent are already used to house a small number of asylum seekers. It follows a wave of demonstrations outside migrant hotels over the summer. 6 people this evening have been arrested outside a hotel in Manchester at the latest protest. Well, John Healy says the option of using military sites is just one of a number of necessary measures.
No one part of this will solve the problem. It requires action on the gangs, action on the boats, action on processing any claims, action on negotiating agreements to return those who have no right to be here to other countries. We started to do all that. Good progress in the first year, but so much more to do.
The new Home Secretary has described the number of small boat crossings in the Channel as utterly unacceptable. Shabana Mahmood will this week host counterparts from the Five Eyes Security Alliance in London for talks on tackling people smuggling, her first major engagement in the role. Reports suggest ministers are also close to agreeing a similar one-in, one-out returns arrangement with Germany. Almost 900 protesters were arrested in Westminster yesterday during a demonstration in support of Palestine Action. The protest began peacefully, but violent clashes broke out in the afternoon when a large group of protesters who weren't holding placards verbally abused and physically abused officers making arrests. The majority of those arrested were for supporting a prescribed group, but 33 were held for allegedly assaulting the police. The Met has confirmed the abuse its officers suffered included some being punched, kicked, spat at and having objects thrown at them. And London Underground staff have started a 5-day strike over pay and conditions. The industrial actions brought services to an early finish this evening, and there will be no services until Friday. Around 10,000 members of the RMT union are walking out over pay and conditions. They're asking for a 3-hour reduction to a 32-hour week. Buses and London's other rail service will continue to run. Those are your headlines. Now it's back to Alex.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, it's time to ban the burqa, niqab and all face coverings in public in the United Kingdom once and for all. Frankly, it's surprising enough to me that religious face coverings for women were allowed to thrive in the UK for so long. It is, in my opinion, a religious tool of female oppression. And I think it's totally alien to our culture and in direct conflict with British values and our identity. Some women wearing these garments will claim it is their choice. But I agree with Dr. Samaya Tahidi, who this year in a 2025 Telegraph piece described feeling brainwashed into wearing head coverings from childhood, only finding freedom after shedding them. This is my opinion, of course, and suggests not every choice. And I think not every choice is free. Cultural or religious pressure can loom large on people. But it's not just religious garments I want banned, I want all face coverings banned. Many of you at home live in cities. You'll see familiar sights of yous running around with either medical masks on or balaclavas. Not because it's some fashion trend, but, they want to just get away with petty crimes, I think. And not just that, too. It's also an act of intimidation, isn't it? What other reasons are there? Then you have the thugs that show up to peaceful protests covering their face. Nobody wants these people there. If you can't put your face to your words and your actions, then you shouldn't be allowed to protest in the first place. Well, many parts of Europe are ahead of us on this. France banned face coverings in 2020. Fines are up to €150 for wearing a burqa in public. Belgium, Denmark, Austria, they've all followed suit. These aren't backward nations, are they? They are democracies, prioritising social cohesion and security. And in France in 2015, a study showed 80% of their citizens supported the ban. Why? Because when you can't see someone's face, trust erodes. And now we're talking about this again because of comments made by Zia Youssef, Reform's new head of policy, at their party conference just yesterday. Back in June, if you remember, he called Reform MP Sarah Poachen's questions in the House of Commons on this issue dumb because it wasn't party policy. And shortly after that, he quit as chairman, citing exhaustion. And you know what? Fair enough, politics is brutal. But now, speaking to Michael Gove yesterday, he's crystal clear. He'd vote to ban face coverings if he were an MP. Is that a U-turn? Because Youssef sees what Labour and other lefties, in my opinion, refuse to. The burqa and face coverings aren't just a piece of cloth. It's a barrier to integration and assimilation. And he's not alone. Reform's Chief Whip Lee Anderson agrees, saying no one should be allowed to hide their identity in public. And frankly, I know many of you at home will agree with me, and them, that we should just ban these things and move on like every other good democracy across Europe has done. Let's get to our panel on this, shall we? Businessman and political activist Adam Brooks, welcome back. Political commentator and social media star Chloe Dobbs, and broadcaster and commentator Andy Williams. Well, Andy, I'll start with you, because this is a debate now becomes sort of part of the right-wing debate, I think, about Britain's future and our cultural identity. Yep. Started by Sarah Poachen, I think restarted perhaps by Sarah Poachen's comments back in June. There was a bit of disagreement in parts of Reform. They've now landed seemingly on the same hymn sheet on this one. But it is alien to Britain to have face coverings, isn't it?
I think Zia Youssef was right the first time when he said this was dumb. This is a dumb debate. This is ridiculous, OK? Like, Reform and the right, the Reform Party is, as I understand it, unless I've misunderstood it, a libertarian party, and they want to stop people wearing certain things in public. I find that really, really odd.
But isn't it not protecting the freedoms of women? You know, freedom of women. Because
it may well be, but let's be absolutely clear. That is not why Reform don't like the burqa. Reform don't dislike the burqa because they're protecting the rights of women. That, let's be really clear about that.
Why do you think they are?
Because they don't like Islam.
Zia Youssef is a Muslim. You're saying he doesn't like Islam. So
the Reform Party collectively, let's be absolutely clear about this, they are not the pro-women party. They are absolutely an anti-Islam party. And they've been very, very, very straightforward about that in every single thing they've said.
Let me tell you why you sound so ridiculous on this, right?
Please do.
Zia Youssef, for one, is a Muslim.
That doesn't mean... OK,
right.
that's not a
Let me just tell you, Andy.
Hang on, let Adam speak.
There are numerous countries around the world that are Muslim countries that ban face coverings, OK? This isn't an anti-Islam rhetoric at all. At the end of the day, for me, there's two things. There's social cohesion about being able to see people's faces.
Yes.
And then there's security issues. I work, you know, I serve the public. I wouldn't want people coming into my pub if I could not see their face. One, there would be an age problem. I need to make sure they're of age.
Fair enough.
And two, there would be, you know, security problems as well. You just don't know who's coming in. Now, social cohesion. If you walk down somewhere like Whitechapel in London, one, you might not hear English being spoke the whole way down the high road.
What's the problem with that?
Two, we're in England. That's the problem, Andy.
Let's dig into that. What's the problem with that?
And two, you will not see many faces on the women thing, and it's just not human to cover your face. Now, I say this, if Jewish people covered their faces, if Catholics covered their faces, I would still have a problem.
I want to bring Chloe, because I don't want the only woman on the panel not to have heard her voice heard yet. So let's bring Chloe in, and I'll let you respond. All right, how about that? Go on.
Look, I don't think that it is going against their, say, libertarian grain to do so. I think it's a difficult one where you've got conflicting freedoms. As Alex says, it's a concern for women's freedoms. And I will disagree with you when you say that Reform is not a pro-women party. I was absolutely astonished at the Reform Party conference.
Chloe, I did not say that.
Sorry, tell me exactly what you said again.
I said it's an anti-Islam party.
Yeah, but you also said you mentioned women as well when we spoke about women's freedoms.
I said it's an anti-Islam party, and I think it is.
Well, so if we go, because I think that's absolutely bonkers.
I'm pretty sure you said they're not
because if we're talking
about
banning the burqa, right? We're talking about banning the burqa and face covering. So that's what I want. I'm picking up on the burqa because I think it's exceptional to other face coverings, and and I believe it's a religious tool of oppression. I really, really do. By men who don't want other men to see their women. I think that's very oppressive.
You're picking up on it because it's a Muslim.
I'm picking up on it because, yes, Islam is alien to the United Kingdom up until 60 years ago. Yes, I believe that is the case. But also in this country, we value, as Adam's very well said, seeing someone's face, and that's why I'm saying even the youths that run around our streets, plaguing our shopping centres with these medical masks and these balaclavas, it's intimidating. It's a horrible thing. But Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, Latvia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Switzerland. They're not racist countries, are they?
Tunisia,
even African
Sri
countries.
Lanka.
I agree with all that, but people run around on Lime bikes in balaclavas.
I don't want them doing that.
Who are not Muslims.
We're talking about face coverings as a whole. We're talking about burqas, niqabs and face coverings because we have an issue with, for example, Antifa thugs turning up to protest on behalf of shoplifters.
You're honing it on burqas and niqabs.
Well, I am. Can I tell you why? Can I just tell you
because that's the most controversial
hang on. Balaclavas every day who are not Muslims. That's my point.
I know, but I mentioned, I wasn't saying that they were. But the reason why we talk about the niqab and the burqa is what other religions in the United Kingdom do you see people walking around with their faces entirely covered?
Well, many people run around in...
I think you'll find the answer's none. I think you'll find the answer's none.
Irreligious people do that as well.
But I know, we're not disagreeing on that point.
You're honing in on a particular subset of people.
Because we have to talk about that specifically, separately, as well as the face coverings of the medical
masks. What about the people who
cover
their faces who are not religious?
Well, I mentioned that in the monologue, Andy. Andy, I literally said, I can rewind it and read it out to you. I said also these youths and thugs running around with face masks.
It's about the burqa and the niqab.
Well, that's the headline of the topic, but as I said in the monologue multiple times, I said this is also about the guys wearing medical masks and balaclavas. It's in my speech, and you can read that.
In this country, we've got about 50,000 people on the terrorist watch list, of which 90% are Islamic extremists. That's a fact. Now, it's very easy for a terrorist man, to put on these full-face garments and other things and walk straight into a hospital and maybe detonate a device. It is a serious problem. Don't roll your eyes because we've had...
I will roll my eyes.
I'll tell you why. 1 second. We've had kids blown up from Islamic extremists. They exist. There is 40,000 on the watch list. Please don't play that down. It's a problem.
We've had the IRA.
Any way we can make security better, we can.
What about the IRA?
Let's bring Chloe back in.
Not anymore.
Can I just ask, hang on, gentlemen, because I'd like to ask Chloe a specific question about being a woman, because obviously there's a lot of women who will say, actually, I want to wear the burqa, I want to wear the niqab. Should we be stopping? Is this me saying, actually, no, we should stop women from wearing face coverings? Is that what you think this might end up being about?
I think that we should stop women from covering their faces, and some of them will say, I'm wearing it because it is their own choice. But then when you say, OK, well, what will happen if you don't wear the burqa then? And then they go, oh, well, I'll be completely ostracised by my husband and my family, right? So I do think it's not completely their choice. And as you say, there is an element of brainwashing going on. And I think many women, if they were then given that freedom and were told you can't wear it and they get to show their face, that they would enjoy that freedom. And I don't think that it is stopping their religious freedom in any way, because Islam does not require you to completely cover your face. There are plenty of Muslims, they can still wear a hijab, there's no problem with that. And I think, as Adam has pointed out, it's a big security issue.
In their own homes and in religious places, fine. Not in the public, it's a security threat.
Yeah, and I think this debate is going to carry on, because I think now Reform have sort of talked about it quite openly now, and of course they are leading in the polls, they look like the unofficial opposition. This topic's going to keep coming up time and time again. Andy, can you do it in 5 seconds?
Yes. Sarah Potchin wanted to go on stage at Reform conference wearing a turquoise burqa in the style of Reform.
Who said that? Who said that?
Well, look it up. That is true.
No, that's rubbish. No, I've never heard anything about this. I've never heard anything. Anyway, all right, listen, we've got to go. I think that's a load of rubbish. I was at the conference. I don't think of any. Anyway,
that is the madness of Reform in one sentence.
I think that's your own madness.
It's true.
Okay, right. Before we move on, it's time for the Great British Giveaway, and it's our biggest prize package to date, worth an incredible 104 grand. Your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and bank a whopping 30k in tax-free cash. Here's the details.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people, comes with integrated bathroom and kitchen areas, has plenty of storage and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, taking the total prize value of this great British giveaway over a whopping £104,000. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, well, coming up.
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
Well, Prince Harry's reportedly keen to introduce his children to the United Kingdom. How will Meghan Markle feel about all of that? Well, this is Alex Armstrong tonight. We'll be digging into it. See you shortly. Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, Dame Helen Mirren has said that despite being a feminist, she believes the next James Bond has to be a chap.
OK, she said that she believes it just doesn't work, and by having a woman as Bond, the project becomes something else entirely.
So we are asking the question, could Bond ever be a woman?
Well, we're joined by a former what is termed Bond girl, Jenny Hanley, and and there is, we weren't expecting you, but it's really 007 podcast contributor John Kell there as well. Jenny, you've been there, done it, got the T-shirt, been involved in it. What's your take?
I think James Bond has to be a male because he came from the imagination of Ian Fleming. If you want a female 007, don't ride on his coattails and take the fame that has come from his character, James Bond. Write your own.
Yeah, you see, that's what I tend to think. But
I just think that you just go 007. The problem is, right, the last Bond film, he died. James Bond died. I mean, there was a... Oh, sorry.
Great, I haven't seen that one.
Sorry, yeah. I think everybody pretty much now knows that he definitely... I mean, there was an absolutely... It wasn't even did he or didn't he, can he or can he not survive. It was 100% gone. So it's now time for a clean... The nice thing about a clean sheet, surely, John, is that you can actually go, right, so 007, let's do the 007, and then we can do different stories, because the books that have been written by Ian Fleming have been well and truly milked, haven't they?
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong tonight. It's been a very fiery show, hasn't it? Well, something we like to talk about is the royals here, and Camilla is not my queen. Those are the words of former royal butler Paul Burrell, who says, you thought that was me then, didn't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Who he says is waiting for Catherine to become queen. He adds that he believes Diana would be proud of her when his son finally ascends even the throne. I'm now joined by editor-at-large for The Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Thank you so much for joining me, Charlotte. Lovely to see you again. Well, there's been a lot of royal stories this week, hasn't there? Of course, we saw the passing of, goodness me, Duchess of Kent. Thank you so much, thank you. And of course, now we've got Harry out in the papers. Maybe we could start there with you, because we've heard and we're hearing that he wants to bring his kids to the United Kingdom and introduce them to the country. What sort of involvement do you think Harry and his kids could have in the UK?
Involvement in the UK? Well, I think in an ideal world, Harry would love to sort of do royal events, have his kids here being Prince and Princess Archie and Lily, but that's never going to happen in a million years. But I think he's quite realistic. I think he just literally wants to get them in the country. They haven't been in the country since June 2022, I think, from memory.
Wow.
And, you know, I think it's kind of crazy. He's just, how has he let it get this far? And I think he's just coming to realise that. He's just thinking, I want my kids to meet somebody from my side of the family, rather than just the Californian, you know, crowd that they hang around with. So I think just that basic need needs to be met first, then who knows what might happen in the future.
Yeah, and of course, going on to those comments by Paul Burrell, they're quite sensational comments. Of course, he's not a royal himself, is he? He's just a former butler. He says that he doesn't believe that Camilla's his queen. Now, I sort of spoke to some of the audience about this, and there's a lot of disagreement. I would say there's only a small percentage of people who really do not like King Charles and Queen Camilla. Is there a feeling that there's sort of this transitionary royals, or I mean, he's the oldest. He was the oldest Prince of Wales in history, I believe. And is there this feeling because we've got William and Catherine, you know, they're sort of on the precipice of becoming the king and queen, that people are looking forward at the royal family, perhaps?
Well, I actually think Paul Burrell's a bit behind the times. I think for decades people said, oh, Camilla's not going to be the queen. I remember my grandfather used to say that. But as time's gone on, people have really come around to Camilla. But, you know, it's not a surprise, because Paul Burrell couldn't be more Team Diana if he tried. But I actually think, you know, the comments are really out of place. You know, we know that King Charles is ill. He's been waiting a hell of a long time to get this job. They're doing an amazing job. He's constantly out doing engagements. Camilla's working really, really hard. She's been an amazing support to Charles. And actually the nation is more or less, I think, rallied around the two of them. And it is their turn. And I think, yeah, I suppose there's a sense they're transition royals. But don't forget, Catherine and William, they want to delay this for as long as possible. They've got a young family. In their dream scenario, I think their youngest child would be 18 or had left school before they became king and queen. They really want to just enjoy their children's childhood. And, you know, that might not happen, who knows? So, yeah, I suppose it's inevitable, you know, that Charles and Camilla are transitional royals, but I think it's pretty uncouth to say so, and I think it's just classic Paul Burrell. I mean, they hate him so much, so this is another nail in the coffin for their hatred of Paul Burrell, I think.
Well, I've also got my panel here with me, Charlotte. I'm sure some of them would like to ask you some questions. Andy, you're here. Would you like to ask Charlotte something?
Yeah, Charlotte, I'm just wondering, you know, Paul Burrell, he was involved 28 years ago when Princess Diana sadly died. Why are we still listening to this man?
Well, I'd say he has been dining out. His latest extract in the papers today was so interesting because I actually wasn't aware of quite how close he was to the incident surrounding her death. But, you know, yeah, it's a very long time. It's a really good question. It's a really long time to be dining out. And what I noticed about the extract today is that he seems to be rewriting history. So today's was all about how Al Fayed was creepy and Diana didn't really like him. I'm talking about, Dodi's father. And I just wonder whether, because what's come out in recent years is, you know, how awful that man was, he's now slightly rewriting history, saying, oh, you know, Diana had a special credit card for Harrods, but she never spent the money because, of course, she knew that he was a bit of an odd fish, and, you know, to say the least. So I think you're right to say, you know, he's probably been dining out on it a bit too long, and he's in danger of rewriting history every time he updates his memories of her.
Well, Charlotte, I also want to ask you about this story that you published on the Mail the other day, which is the Jamaican Prime Minister's picture with the Sussexes. He called the King to say he didn't know they were coming. Is this sort of the behaviour of the Sussexes now? Because I think we've seen stuff like this before, where they just sort of show up to places, and it's a little bit uncouth for the Sussexes, who of course are senior members of the not working royals, but senior members of the royal family nonetheless, and are now pictured with premiers of other countries.
Yes, well, this is in my paper today in the Mail on Sunday, but it actually happened a year ago. So when they went over to Jamaica, they were invited for the premiere of the Bob Marley film, but nobody thought to inform the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, who just got re-elected this week. So he turned up and suddenly found himself posing with Meghan and Harry, who managed to sort of creep into a picture with them. But actually, it was really diplomatically awkward for him, because he's expressed views about, Jamaica becoming a republic. They were completely at a low ebb with King Charles. However, he has a large amount of respect for King Charles, so his office had to make a hastily arranged phone call, so we're told by an ambassador for Jamaica, and say to Charles, look, I'm not making a point here. I didn't know they were coming. I didn't know I was going to be pictured with them. I'm not saying that we want to become a republic and we're on Team Sussex. I just don't know whether Harry and Meghan are aware that when little moments like that happen, there's a whole diplomatic Commonwealth element to it. Or, even worse, they actually are aware and they were stirring the pot, which a year ago was very much their style, and that's when this happened.
It's just fascinating to me that they, despite them dropping out as working royals and making such a fuss about wanting privacy, and you can see the flashing images on here, I think, of that event, actually, that they still throw themselves in this limelight. And, of course, we just had Meghan's new Netflix series drop. The last one didn't do so well, according to the figures. Is there a bit of fatigue of these two now, Charlotte, briefly, if you don't mind?
I think there's definitely fatigue. The latest series of As Ever has gone really badly. I don't think it made it to the top 10. I think there's going to be a Christmas special, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's about it. But let's see what happens next week, because Harry's coming tomorrow to the UK, and I think he'll be very keen to see how the reception goes and whether people are fatigued by him here in the UK.
And just one more final thing. I know we're running out of time, but final thing. Do we expect to see Harry and Meghan at the funeral of the Duchess of Kent?
Yeah, I think it's on September the 16th. I think Harry will have gone back to California then. He may well change his plans. There's no way Meghan will be there. I'd be very surprised if Harry's there, actually. But the royal family did tell him before the rest of the world, which is a new kind of development. They actually wanted to make communication with him to tell him that she died.
All right, well, thank you, Charlotte Griffiths, so much. Editor-at-Large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week, hopefully. That was great. Thank you so much. Well, coming up, we'll bring you all of tomorrow's front pages, including this story on the front page of The Times, that 2 GP surgeries are closing their doors every week. NHS crisis incoming, everybody. This is Alex Armstrong tonight, only on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. Looking ahead to the new working week, and it's going to be unsettled. Most of us seeing some further rain and showers, and after a warm weekend for some of us, temperatures are returning to nearer average. So we have low pressure really dominating the scene as we end the weekend. Still got some dry weather down towards the far southeast, but most of us seeing some showers. As the night goes on, showers generally becoming confined to western and northern parts of the UK, and quite a windy night to come across the very far northeast of Scotland. Where we do see the clearer skies, it will turn a little bit cooler than the night just gone, but I think most towns and cities still staying in double figures. So we start Monday off with plenty of sunshine across many parts of the UK. Still got the overnight rain just clearing Shetland, but for most of Scotland it should be dry. But showers will quickly develop across the west of Scotland. Also similar story for Northern Ireland. A few showers in the west, but mostly dry as we start Monday morning. Showers also moving in across parts of Wales and southwest England, but many eastern areas of England starting off the day dry and sunny. And as the day goes on, the showers across the west will gradually become a little bit more widespread across the country. Most frequent still in the west. Some of these showers will be heavy and potentially thundery in places, with the best of the brightness throughout the day really over towards the east. Temperatures on Monday down over the weekend, but still reaching around 21 to 22 degrees in the southeast corner. So I think if you are in the sunshine, it won't feel too bad out there. Similar start to the day on Tuesday, lots of sunshine around, but this time we've seen another feature coming in from the southwest. There's some showers breaking out quite quickly across southwest England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Ahead of it, could see a few rogue showers, but mostly dry. And that unsettled regime does look like it will continue Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures around average.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. I've got your front pages here, everybody. Should we go through them? Well, let's start with the Metro, shall we? Labour to put migrants in military bases. Asylum, it's Barack to square one. Yes, of course, that's the embarrassing U-turn that Labour's had to make a year after they said that this was a terrible idea when the Tories did it. That's not very good, is it? Anyway, let's go to the Telegraph next. Union threaten Prime Minister over Rayner law. Barons will fight every inch to safeguard workers' rights reform, Starmer has warned. Is his left flank of his party gearing up for an almighty showdown with the Blairites still hanging in there? I think they are. Let's go to the Times. Prime Minister task Blairites. Here we go. We nailed it before we even said it. Blairites in new cabinet with growth. Starmer wants reforms on building and welfare. Net zero regulation is in the firing line. Well, why the heck is Ed Miliband still in the cabinet then? Anyway, The Guardian. Here we go. Stop making mistakes. Starmer warned by senior Labour figures. Labour insiders form a new centre-left group in bid to change party's direction. Well, where should we start, guys? Should we start with that last one there, The Guardian? Because I think this kind of summarises a lot of those headlines, doesn't it? This is a party in absolute chaos. It hasn't got a clue where to start, does it? It's gone back on its hypocritical on the Metro front page. It said they're obviously moving migrants to military bases now. And then on one hand, then they've got the left now trying to outflank them on things that they were being warned, at least. And then the unions on the Telegraph are threatening the Prime Minister with a big row. And then on the other side, this new centre-left group, Andy, saying they're warning the Prime Minister not to make mistakes.
Well,
it's not good, is it?
You've got sort of four criticisms. So what is your criticism, Alex, is my question.
Well, I think my criticism is...
What is your specific criticism?
I'll tell you. How bad... Maybe I'll ask you a question, not criticism. My question is, how bad is this? This is not a good look, is it? Because you now got splintering parties. This is what happened to the Tories. Let's face it. Yeah. Tories have the same problem. You're so big, your biggest issue is yourselves at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think... It is absolutely clear that Labour have had a really bad first year in government. Yep. It has been disastrous from a comms perspective. It's been extremely poor and disappointing from a delivery perspective. You know, I'm somebody who was here arguing and making the case for Labour to come into government because the Tories were such a disaster. And I thought they'd be better in all sorts of respects. And in some ways they have been, right? They've been less destructive. But I would say, if you look at things like the relationship with business, that's been really disappointing because you've got the national insurance, employee national insurance going up. The non-dom thing, I think, is a disaster. I've been here and I've been the critical friend to Labour and saying, don't do this, don't do this. They have an opportunity now, genuinely, to reset and to be the smart, centre-left, Blairite, which I am, government that they could be. They've appointed Shabana Mahmood, for example, as Home Secretary, who's going to get a grip on migration.
I've heard that one before. I've heard that one before, Andy. I've heard it.
Well, let's see. But actually, there's the kernel there of a point and the kernel of an idea and the thought that Labour might actually get a grip on things.
All right.
We're a year in. Let's give them a chance.
I'll go to Chloe, then you, of course, Adam. But Chloe, I just want to give some more context to the viewers here. So Andy Burnham has called for a reset of a more pluralistic style of government. We've got Emily Thornberry saying that without doing some sort of change, she can hand the country to Farage. Unions are stamping down on him. Now, Angela Rayner's gone. His left flank are left absolutely in complete outrage. They haven't got any lefties, real proper lefties in the cabinet anymore. It's not good, is it?
No, I mean, there's not going to be some unified force telling them this is exactly what you're going to do, because the criticisms are coming from all directions. On the one hand, there's a lot of pressure for them to be tougher on immigration, as we have been seeing with them announcing, we're going to put them in army barracks and we're going to have this deal with France, because they're so worried about so many people moving to reform. And I mean, we've all seen the polls. But then on the other hand, you've got lefties, you've got, union leaders here going after Starmer and various others saying, you need to be more left-wing. The union leaders are saying, don't you dare water down Angela Rayner's employment rights bill. You've had, after all the chaos of the budget, you've got some people, I think Diane Abbott included, saying, the solution is you need to tax even more. You're not taxing enough. And so there's just no unification whatsoever. Yeah. And Andy, you speak about them needing a reset, but look at this reset. It's just moving the deck chairs around in the Titanic, because there is no talent. You've got David Lammy as your deputy prime minister. That just shows how little talent there is.
I think the Titanic analogy is pretty good, because it seems to be the iceberg.
Titanic analogy is so boring.
Well, hang on, because the iceberg is these far lefties that are clearly sending a warning to Keir Starmer. We're threatening him. They're threatening him.
We knew what Labour was all about. We knew they had the far left within them, and we knew there was extremists within the Labour Party. But what I will say, it's not hard to see that Labour have messed this country up in just a year. The economy is crashing. The gilt markets are sending a message that they're not happy. Unemployment figures are the worst I've seen them for 5 or 6 years, I believe. My own trade, hospitality, is on its knees because of her budget. And that is a fact. Unemployment in hospitality is terrible. This is all without Corbyn's loony party polling at the moment. I honestly predict by Christmas that Labour will be polling at 15%.
Do you think so? Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And there will be a massive crisis where they're going to try and get rid of Starmer or whatever. But there are two factions within Labour, the far left, and then there's Tony Blair pulling him in another direction. I was told by someone very high up within American politics that Tony Blair is basically running this country at the moment.
I'm sorry, well, your sources are appallingly bad. You are desperately badly sourced.
Okay.
That is absolute nonsense. I can't even say the word on air that describes what you're saying. That is nonsense. And by the way,
how do you know? I wonder why they're so keen on...
Because I'm way better connected than you are, and I can
Andy,
tell
why are they so keen on digital ID then? They don't seem to shut up about digital ID at the moment.
I think we should have digital ID
Tony
cards.
Blair's baby.
I'm massively in favour. We should have digital ID cards for everybody.
I want to bring...
That's another debate.
Don't start triggering me, Andy. Come on. Right, let's get into the Metro front page here, because this is a good one, isn't it? This is a complete humiliation. This is a complete humiliation for Yvette Cooper. Just got sacked and moved to Foreign Secretary, so she can't have to do anything, to upset the country anymore.
She was moved, not sacked.
Well, I mean, it's a demotion, isn't it?
No.
Yes, it is.
Of course it's not.
Yes, it is. Of course it is. The Foreign Secretary doesn't do anything. He just do what the Prime Minister tells him to do.
Well, no,
as Home Secretary, she's got a terrible record. She was Shadow Home Secretary for a very long period of time. You think she'd have a plan. She came in, the migrant crisis is out of control, the hotel crisis is out of control, and now the one thing she slammed the Tories for, which was the use of military bases, it's been the first thing that Shabana Mahmood has done.
What's your question?
What do you think of all that? Maybe that's my question.
I think we should use any tools we can to get a grip at the migrant crisis.
So was you hang on, what do you think, Andrew?
He didn't say that. Let me find where you said that was a good idea where the Tories did it.
I think that the Tories were terrible on this. I mean, clearly.
But Labour are doing the same things.
The numbers went up and up and up and up and up by a factor of hundreds of thousands while they were in government, right? They were a total
Labour have made it worse.
disaster. No, yeah, but
record numbers have crossed.
But correct. But hang on a minute. Right. You're talking about if you come into a situation where something has been a disaster for tens of years, and it's gone up exponentially.
Shall I tell you what you don't do?
They've only been in government for 15 months.
I'll tell you what you don't do.
But they haven't even started making progress. They're going back. If they had started making a bit of progress, I would give them some benefit of the doubt for it taking time.
The numbers say that, right? But that actually...
Or is it just the weather?
No, it's not the... No, and that is a poor excuse. And any minister, whoever comes on telly and says that, that is unacceptable, right? That is not an excuse.
But it is at record highs.
It is at record highs. You can't argue with the numbers.
But of course, and the point that Adam and Chloe are making is that this is completely out of control. It's got worse despite the Prime Minister promising and then promising time and time again. He'd smashed the gangs, which have been less smashed than when the Tories did it.
But if you have if a juggernaut with a huge... I'm mixing metaphors here. Juggernaut with a huge amount of momentum, right? That is not going to suddenly be arrested in 12 months. You can't just go... So there is a way... Sorry, just let me 30 seconds. There is a way to do it, right? So Nigel Farage has actually proposed a solution. He has said, what we're going to do is we're just going to break international law, we're going to bin the Human Rights Act, we're going to absolve ourselves from the ECHR, we're going to send women and children back to Afghanistan.
National emergency.
To be tortured and raped and killed. Now, and this is true, right? This is where Nigel Farage is correct. There is a choice to be made. And people can take their own view. My view is that it's more important that women and children...
OK.
27% of people who come here are women and children.
Nonsense.
No, that is true. That is a fact. 27% of them. Right. So if you're comfortable with sending them back to Afghanistan, it is 27%.
It's 12%.
It's 27%.
Right, it's 12%.
To Afghanistan and Eritrea and Sudan to be tortured and raped and killed. That's
Why did Labour remove the legislation that made it illegal to cross the Channel when we've got a national emergency of people crossing the Channel? Why did Labour do that?
Are you talking about the Rwanda plan?
So part of the legislation made it illegal to cross the Channel. They repealed that legislation.
Which legislation?
Whatever
the Rwanda plan.
I am right, yeah.
Is it the Rwanda plan or which legislation is it?
Whatever the bill was. Do you know?
Can't just say whichever bill.
I can't remember, but we'll find out, because, look, what we'll do is...
None of you know what legislation we're talking about.
They repealed the specific legislation that made it illegal to cross the Channel.
I think what it was is one of the Tory party's pledges if they'd won the election.
No,
Labour didn't
which legislation are we talking about?
We'll dig into it.
We'll find out.
Listen, I've really pushed my luck, and my producer's very unhappy with me. I'm sorry, I'm in trouble. I'm getting get to the break, right? So coming up, we'll show you incredible images of the blood moon, and we're going to be getting back to these front pages, of course, as well. This is Alex Armstrong tonight. Don't go anywhere.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's quite a changeable picture across the Mediterranean over the next couple of days. Plenty of sunny spells on offer, but there is going to be some quite strong winds across parts of the Canaries as we head through Monday afternoon. Parts of Spain and Portugal, parts of Italy seeing plenty of sunny spells, but southern parts of France, parts of Greece and parts of Turkey seeing plenty of heavy showers through Monday afternoon. Quite a lot of sunshine on offer as we go through the rest of the week and feeling pleasantly warm with highs into the high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Why do you think that era of telly is so fondly remembered by viewers? Do you think it's just how warm and friendly?
Well, of course it was.
Came through.
Well, it was very
I'll tell you why.
on.
There was more people. You had more to say. You could be more off script, the way we are in GB News. But today, you just get people who are told because of wokeism, don't say this, don't do that, and do read the script and stick to it. So you get presenters now who have got much less personality and much less risk.
Well, they're risk averse, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is that, you know, probably nowadays I'd have been sacked within 2 months.
Well, I like to think it's because we did our homework, didn't we? You know, we went on there knowing what we were talking about. And
there was
we challenged people in a friendly but firm way, you know.
John, I remember presenting with you, which would never happen today. You and I presenting GMTV in the morning, right? And you would never have two men now. Don't ask me why. You could have two women doing it, but you would never have two men. And this man, to me, he was always the governor. It wouldn't matter if I was given, it was my role. I was beside him. That was John Stapleton. I said to him, you're the boss. You do what you do. He was the senior guy. Still respect him and look up to him. What do you think of what you see on TV today?
Well, I'm not as critical as you, perhaps. I think there's still some damn good programmes on TV, some very good documentaries, and I think most people in the news area do the level best they can and are very competent. So I hate to sit in judgment, but I do watch the news like you, I'm sure, in a very meticulous way, thinking, why are they saying that? Why have they put that there? Why have they put this here? But, you know, we're out of it. It's over. For me, it's over. So there's no point in sitting there harping about what's going on now.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Shall we go over those breaking front pages for you? Let's start with the I paper, shall we? Migrant hotel closures to be fast-tracked as Starmer faces Labour unrest. The Express, 1,097 arrivals in boats on new Home Secretary's first day. The Independent, Labour now steps up its war on small boat crossings. Adam's laughing over there. Daily Mail, 30,000 reasons why Labour won't stop the boats. And this is a cracker. We're going to kick off with this one. The Sun. Judge's best wishes to 7-7 jihadi. Oh, well, you know who my partner lies, Adam Brooks, Chloe Dobbs and Andy Williams. And let's get your thoughts immediately on this one, because I saw this and our mouths dropped, Adam.
Look, I think we've seen so many cases over the last year or so that point to the conclusion that much of what is wrong with Britain today lies with our judges and some of the mad decisions and the mad behaviour that comes from them. Look, police fear he remains a threat. Why would you wish him well?
Yeah, best wishes with whatever you do.
No disrespect. There's guests in here that I really strongly disagree with what they've said over the last few years or in their past. I don't talk to them. I wouldn't wish them best.
Best wishes.
And this is a monster.
Yeah.
And we've got a judge wishing him well. No, that's terrible. He should be sacked.
I wonder which panellist you're talking about, actually, Adam. I wonder. Andy, it's not Andy. I don't think it's Andy as much as someone else.
Might be.
But maybe. Andy, but this is bonkers, isn't it? Because this is just to give some more context to you listening at home as well. So, a judge despite fury wishing the 7-7 bombings mastermind all the best as he prepares to walk free. So Robert J. sympathised with Al Qaeda fiend Haroon Aswat, 50, who will be released from hospital into Yorkshire despite police fears he remains a threat. Nigel Farage says he should be sacked, the judge. What do you think, Andy?
So, firstly, it's irrelevant what Nigel Farage thinks.
It's not. He's leading the polls. Of course he's not irrelevant.
No, hang on. No. It is totally... I mean, this is the problem, Alex.
Well, it's politically relevant, is what I'm saying.
It's not politically relevant.
Well, he'd be Prime Minister, so it's very relevant.
Well, he's not Prime Minister.
Well, should he be sacked?
So, OK, so let's... Hang on. I'm trying to deal with this first thing, which is that right now, yes, Reform are leading the polls, but also Nigel Farage is the leader of a party with 4 seats in Parliament. So let's be clear about the influence of this person. It is not up to Nigel Farage whether someone... No. This is important. It's not up to Nigel Farage.
Don't waffle. Be quick.
I'm not waffling.
You are.
It's not important whether Nigel Farage thinks someone is guilty or not guilty or should not be in jail. This is insane.
Okay. All right. Go on.
I mean, Andy, your party is going to lose the next general election.
It's not my party.
If they think Nigel Farage is irrelevant and everything he says should be listened to. He's got... I mean, look at the polls, Andy. But on this story, I am really concerned that we have got an activist judiciary. We saw that in... I know it's a separate topic, but the Bell Hotel at the Court of Appeal, Lord Justice Bean making an absolutely bonkers ruling, which to me seemed clearly politically motivated. And I think we are really soft on terrorists. We've got the guy who plotted to blow up the London Stock Exchange. He's being let free. Shabana Mahmood, while she was still Justice Secretary, didn't even bother to show up to the parole hearing when they could have argued the case that he shouldn't be let out because he's a danger to society. He's one of the country's most dangerous terrorists, now free to walk the streets. And here you've got a judge wishing this guy well. He also said, well, it must have been really difficult for you being held in custody. It's difficult to be blown up by a terrorist.
A lot over the next hour. And Adam, you know, this is the same judge, by the way, who was doing the questioning at the Levinson inquiry. So this is a man the public are meant to trust with questioning on difficult topics here. I mean, do you think Nigel Farage is right? Should he be sacked? And of course, the other person we think about when we hear about activist judiciary is Robert Jenrick as well, don't we? You know, he's been pretty tough on this stuff. Should be taking David Lammy to town soon on this stuff, won't he?
Yeah, look, again, I'm just going to reiterate, and especially with what Chloe just said there, I feel like our judiciary has lots of activists within it. I do not trust our judiciary. I believe we live in two-tier Britain with a two-tier Prime Minister, a two-tier judiciary, a two-tier police force, and I think we're in a lot of trouble. And things like this, you do not wish monsters like this all the best.
Totally agree, Adam.
The optics are horrendous.
I totally agree with you. And listen, we're going to go so much more into this story, because I think there's a lot more here. And as it breaks, we'll bring you more on it. But coming up next, I've got a very special guest for you, someone you might have missed. Ben Leo is going to be joining me live from Washington, D.C. Andy Williams, can't wait to have a chat with him. And I tell you what, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition, is coming up in just a moment. Hang on to your seats.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. Looking ahead to the new working week, and it's going to be unsettled. Most of us seeing some further rain and showers, and after a warm weekend for some of us, temperatures are returning to nearer average. So we have low pressure really dominating the scene as we end the weekend. Still got some dry weather down towards the far southeast, but most of us seeing some showers. As the night goes on, showers generally becoming confined to western and northern parts of the UK, and quite a windy night to come across the very far northeast of Scotland. Where we do see the clearer skies, it will turn a little bit cooler than the night just gone, but I think most towns and cities still staying in double figures. So we start Monday off with plenty of sunshine across many parts of the UK. Still got the overnight rain just clearing Shetland, but for most of Scotland it should be dry. But showers will quickly develop across the west of Scotland. Also similar story for Northern Ireland. A few showers in the west, but mostly dry as we start Monday morning. Showers also moving in across parts of Wales and southwest England, but many eastern areas of England starting off the day dry and sunny. And as the day goes on, the showers across the west will gradually become a little bit more widespread across the country. Most frequent still in the west. Some of these showers will be heavy and potentially thundery in places, with the best of the brightness throughout the day really over towards the east. Temperatures on Monday down over the weekend, but still reaching around 21 to 22 degrees in the southeast corner. So I think if you are in the sunshine, it won't feel too bad out there. Similar start to the day on Tuesday, lots of sunshine around, but this time we've seen another feature coming in from the southwest. There's some showers breaking out quite quickly across southwest England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Ahead of it, could see a few rogue showers, but mostly dry. And that unsettled regime does look like it will continue Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures around average.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Good evening, it's 11 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong.